Welcome to Zoe Olivia Mindset. I'm your host, Zoe, coach to the growth minded high achiever, expert leader of full life transformations, and a voice for abundance, self love, and mind, body, and soul alignment. This show is for out of the box thinkers with big dreams, and every episode is designed to help you feel safe and free in your own skin, as well as guiding you in your healing and awakening journey. May you feel energized, expanded, safe, inspired, and free. Thank you for joining me. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zoe Olivia Mindset. If this is your first time with me, hello, and thank you so much for joining me. Make sure that you go ahead and watch the first few episodes because I do lay some very essential groundwork for a lot of the things in this and the following episodes to make sense. Just a little shameless plug. Make sure you go back and listen to the other episodes. Really, really important, okay? If this is not your first time with me, welcome back. I am so happy that you are tuning in. I think that you guys are really going to like this episode. Pretty sure I say this every damn time, but do I deliver or what? Okay. Anyways, you guys, orders of business. I am just happy to be here today. How about that as an order of business? Let's make today's order of business. If you are listening to this, I invite you to do a random act of kindness for someone else, okay? This means giving something, doesn't have to be money, it could be time, it could be energy, it could be attention, it can be holding the door for someone, literally, okay? Let's make sure we have acts of kindness as a regular practice in our lives, okay? So that's your lovely invitation from me today. And I kind of want to dive in already to the topic, you guys. Today is all about feeling good. I know I've put out there to be really transparent with me about what you guys want to hear about. And so one of the top requests that I get is for me to open up in further detail. I know in episode 1, I talked to you guys a little bit about my story, who I am, what I've been through, how I got here today. And if you haven't seen or heard, that episode, make sure that you check it out. Moral of the story here is I hear you loud and clear. I support you. I agree. I am definitely going to have a future episode in more detail about my story. It'll be probably something like a series. But in the meantime, a question within a question that I get is, how did I go from the lows of the lows that I had to where I am today? Okay, so Spark Notes version, if you have not heard episode 1, I had depression and anxiety for over a decade. Okay, I describe it as being at the bottom of the well. I really didn't feel good. I would wake up so angry, so sad. I often would take like NyQuil and all that stuff to just go to sleep through the day because the day was just so painful for me. I didn't understand what I was doing, right? I was pretty high functioning as this was going on. I could hold down a job. I had pretty, successful jobs actually. I was very into performing well, achieving, having all of those things, all those boxes checked, if you will. On the inside, however, that was all a big mask for the outside, but on the inside, I was a wreck. I couldn't understand how I was feeling or why. I just knew that it did not feel good. Whatever it was, did not feel good. Anything that was like heightened, if there was anything in that quote unquote higher frequency, which was actually not a higher frequency, but at the time, anything that felt like energy to me was actually anxiety. And I was running on it to perform because I felt like that's what I had to do. So it was a constant battle between sheer like anxiety and terror and just like getting up because I felt like I had to, mixed with just this existential depression of like, is this really all there is? Because this shit sucks and it's not for me. And yeah, it was a pretty dark time. So that was the first version of me. I call her Zoe 1.0. The Zoe that you are listening to right now, you guys, if you are in any capacity, a close friend, family member, you, even if you're just like hearing my voice, I think that you guys can hear just the peace and the honestly like inner bliss that really just radiates right out of me. Part of me even making this podcast in the first place wasn't just for me. And I'm like, oh, I have so much stuff to say. No, I actually was pretty scared to do this. It was because clients, people who had heard my story, heard me speak, were like, you've got to share this. Like, how did you do that? How did you get from all the things that somebody would call quote unquote toxic and feeling unfulfilled and dragging your feet through the day and being in debt and everything was just in the garbage to feeling calm, to feeling in command of your time and energy and attention, to feeling happy. And not just because I say it, I'm like, oh, I'm happy, because yes, I do talk like that, but because you can feel it. You can feel it when I'm talking, you can feel it when I'm posting, you can see it and you can really feel it. That's what I'll get into embodiment on another episode, but that's what it means when someone says you're embodied. Okay. More on that later. So, if this episode is all about feeling good, I say all of that to say, I want to tell you how I got here. That's essentially my life's mission, is to share all of the healing, all of the growth. I'm still growing. It's not like that book is closed. Like I will eternally be healing and growing. The difference is now I welcome that with peace and joy and open arms. Versus in the beginning, I avoided that shit at all costs. I'm like, I'm gonna go get wasted and like book a vacation and do anything other than facing my own shit because that seems scary, right? Now I'm like, oh, okay, I recognize that maybe I'm avoiding something and I'm gonna face whatever it is. I don't feel any kind of heightened, like deep darkness. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna keep growing. Okay, so how did I get here? Today's episode is all about feeling good, but before I can tell you what feeling good is, before I can really help you understand what feeling good is, I have to do a pretty decent job of telling you what feeling good is not. Okay? If you haven't already, please pause this episode right here, get a pen, get a glitter Sharpie, take some notes. This is me slowing down to allow for you to meander your way to get a pen. Are you getting a pen? I hope you're getting a pen. Okay. I want to do a better job of saying in the beginning of the show notes to have that kind of ready, but I also recognize that you guys are listening to podcasts as you're cleaning your house or you're driving. So I totally respect that. In that case, I would definitely say star or flag this episode because there is going to be a lot of value in here and I want to make sure that you guys know to come back to it. Okay. So, what feeling good is not? Okay. Feeling good is not avoidance behaviors such as spending, read here, overspending money on temporary, quote, pleasures, over drinking slash substance abuse, okay, overworking. That's not feeling good. I know you guys know that you're listening to this and you're like, I know, but think about it. How many of us overwork because we're like, oh, this feels better than looking in the mirror and facing my shit? Okay, so recap. Feeling good is not avoidance behaviors like overspending, over drinking and substance abuse, overworking. How about this one? Obsessively ruminating. Whether it's about your partner, your job, the fact that you don't have a partner or you don't have a job, obsessively ruminating, avoidance behavior, not feeling good. can be addictive. All of the things I mentioned, not one of these are leading you to feeling good. This is really important, okay? Let me tell you more about what feeling good is not. I'm talking slow, and you guys know I get slow when it's important. I'm like slowing it down, bringing out the radio voice, the radio host voice, okay? Feeling good is not temporary dopamine hits, such as social media. That's any of those bad boys. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's Pinterest. But I have to use it for work. I used to say that. Guess what? It was a dirty lie. Okay. So we're in the business here of growth and healing, and that's calling ourselves out on our own bullshit. Okay. That's love, my friends. More temporary dopamine hits that are not feeling good. Sweets and junk food. Okay. Any food that really lacks adequate nutritional value. Feeling good is also not neglecting growth opportunities or personal development opportunities in favor of going out, parties, vacations, right? So putting all those other things in front of personal and professional development. Most importantly, personal development. Okay? Here's where we're gonna give you a little bit of a shake. You can do any of those behaviors that I just listed. I took a hot second on purpose because you can do them. I'm still going to love you. You can do them. But guess what? You are delaying your dream life and you're perpetuating your own bullshit, my friends. Not even sorry to say it. I've been there. I did that. Okay. In other episodes, I told you the story about the feather, the brick, and the truck. So, what you're doing by participating in avoidance behaviors is actually allowing the problem to worsen. Okay. So many of us will sweep something under the rug. We don't even know what it is half the time. It just doesn't feel like we want to face it. So we're like, oh, I'll just put that under the rug because then I won't see it. It gets louder. Okay. I promise if you ignore this, you're going to come back to this podcast and you're like, this bitch was right. Okay. I don't want that for you. So that's why I'm talking about this right now. All right. So now that we have talked about what feeling good is not, what is required to know before I can start feeling good? And yes, I'm going to tell you what feeling good is. But now that we've broken the association between feeling good and those temporary little hits, because they're different things, we want feeling good to be sustainable. And it's not going to happen through any of the things that I just mentioned. So, what is required to know to really set up a sustainable life that feels good? Number one, and slow it down. You are required to have an intuitive mastery of the following phrase I'm about to say. Feeling good is a feeling of peace, trusting that things are always working out in your favor, that you are in the driver's seat at all times, and that you can face everything in your life with confidence, patience, and understanding. I'm going to say this again. Feeling good is a feeling of peace, trusting, knowing in my body that things are always working out in my favor, that I am in the driver's seat at all times, and that I can face everything in my life with confidence, patience, love, and understanding. When you can hear what I just said and really understand and agree with that statement, you are well on your way. You have set the groundwork for feeling good consistently. Okay. So, another thing to know before you can start feeling good, and I'm going to give you some action steps after this, like I always do. But before you can start feeling good, you must know I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. I am not my traumas. I am that which observes them. Okay, I'm going to repeat it and then I'm going to drive it home with something really important. I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. I am not my traumas. I am that which observes them. Do we understand? If I am that which observes them, I am greater than them. Okay, so many of us don't understand this. We feel bad and we are so quick to say, there's something wrong with me because I am my negative emotion. I am depression. I am my traumas. I am a bad person. I am. Whoa, slow it down. Slow it down. You're not. Those might be things that you have. If you have them, you are inherently greater than them. Do you see how huge that is? When you can pop out of identifying with something negative, you have freed up so much space for positivity to flow in. Okay? Woo! I'm sweating. I'm always sweating around this point of the podcast when I'm like ranting. Okay. So now that we've given you guys a basic understanding, and by we, I mean I just like started talking in the royal we apparently. I want to tell you about stages of feeling good so you can start to recognize this. Okay. So to start feeling good right about now, I don't care if you feel like Zoe 1.0, you're feeling like a dumpster fire, you have zero clarity in your life, this is where you're going to start. I really hope we're pen to paper here. Okay. Step one, you will not get to feeling good without this. Acceptance of where you are at right now. Everything I just said, let's say you feel like a dumpster fire. Based on what we just said in Zoe Olivia mindset, we're not our emotions, we're not our thoughts, we're greater than them. So I'm greater than a dumpster fire. Okay, so I can accept that I feel like one while simultaneously knowing I'm greater. Okay, not negotiable. Acceptance of where you are right now. I'm going to curse. I like really tried to not curse, but it's going to come out. So here we go. Stop fucking judging yourself. Okay? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it right now. There's the second shake. This is a podcast full of me giving you guys shakes. Stop judging yourself. If you feel less than optimal, all you're doing is adding more fuel to the fire and saying, I am like this. I'm condemning myself to be like this. Stop it. That's actually an avoidance behavior in itself, and you can do better, right? But observation is the first step. So step one, acceptance of where you're at and start to get curious about it. Okay. Do you notice that when I say get curious, not once am I like, why don't you just shame yourself about feeling bad? No, you're observing it. You're saying, this is interesting. If you're my client, I guarantee you're probably rolling your eyes back right now because you're like, this is one of the very first things I teach you. Stop judging, start getting curious. Look at the difference in how I show up. If I'm like, I feel bad, everything's against me. When is the pain going to stop? Versus, okay, feeling a little bit activated in my chest, feeling a little bit angry at this person right now. Interesting. Do you see the total difference in those two scenarios? Okay, so that's step one. Acceptance / observation / non-judgment. Number two, also not negotiable, not negotiable, okay? Get clear on how you want to feel. I know this is not the first time I'm saying this either, okay? If you're not clear, it's like getting in a boat, untying it and being like, yeah, we're going to get somewhere. Who knows? Wherever the wind blows. No. Get clear on how you want to feel. That's not anyone else's job but yours. and get really clear. Do you want to feel blissful? Do you want to feel peace? Do you want to feel clarity? Do you want to feel, like you have your purpose? Start to really, like, honestly, after you finish this podcast, like, do a little 10-minute, set a 10-minute timer, get your journal out and start being like, I want to feel this. Not I want to have this, because yes, that's important too, but how do you want to feel? Okay. Number 3, there's a lot of value in here. There's a lot of value. Okay. Understand first logically, and then in your body. I'll explain both. Understand the difference between safety and discomfort. Okay. So many of us will sweep things under the rug and start to engage in avoidance behaviors because we think that to face them would make us unsafe. No, it would make us uncomfortable, and it's different. To be uncomfortable doesn't mean we're unsafe. But because we don't know the difference, we hide because we're like, oh my God, a threat. So understanding that comfort will keep you stuck, feather, brick, and truck, and that discomfort is not the same as unsafety. So now that we understand that logically, one of the tools that I'm going to start to talk to you about is how to teach your body, because a lot of these things are about retraining your nervous system. So not just your mind. Now you're like, okay, Zoe is helping me see that I got to face some shit, but that doesn't do anything about like the fear that I still feel in my chest or my hands or my throat or my eyes, right? That means your nervous system needs a little bit of love and attention to also feel safe. Okay, if this is the first time you're hearing about this whole thing, the old jazzy nervous system, there's so many free resources you can use. Hop on the old reliable YouTube, search breathwork for beginners. Pranayama is also the name for that. Breathwork, essentially what it helps you do is normalize. If you are about to face something and you're feeling scared and you like don't even know where to start, so you start just going back into old patterns because it feels safer, you gotta tell your nervous system that everything's okay. Okay, as much as we love our primal brains that are pretty ancient, they're such brilliant supercomputers, but they still think there's a threat. They're literally programmed for there to be a primitive threat. So like, no, we have to hide because there's a predator. There's no predator, my loves. There's no predator. So now we have to show our body, we have to show our mind that we are safe, that we can face things. Okay. So now that I gave you some stages of feeling good, acceptance / observation / non-judgment, getting clear on how you want to feel, and then understanding the safety versus discomfort difference. Okay. Here are 2 action items, 2 practical solutions that you can do right the fuck now. Number 1, I kind of alluded to this before because I got a little bit excited, as I do. Practice feeling how you want to feel. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. You can reach out to me if you want some specific help. You can do what's called an abundance meditation. You can literally put abundance meditation or abundance meditation for beginners in YouTube, which will have someone guiding you through very positive, optimistic states of mind. You're gonna get on your journal, like I just said earlier, set like a 10-minute timer and just start talking about how you want to feel. If you can feel it as you're talking about it, I'm going to tear up because that's exactly what we want. You can make a vision board, but like I say this to my clients, I'm all for vision boards and okay, I want to have this car or this house, that's cool and groovy, but how do you want to feel? Because that's infinitely more important to me and should be to you than what it is you want to have. Those things that you want to have will only come after you know how you want to feel. Okay? The importance of solution number 1, which is practice feeling how you want to feel, is stay in that state of mind as much as you can. Again, deep sighing, Zoe, don't curse, don't freak out, okay? Not the first time I've said this. The differentiation between healthy optimism and toxic positivity. Because what I just said, sometimes people will be like, what if I feel bad? Okay, that's solution number 2. So as much as we're practicing how we want to feel, we're not swallowing if we feel bad and ignoring it and sweeping it under the rug. Because the first God knows how many minutes of the podcast where I talked about how not good that is for you, right? What we have to do in solution number 2 is start to get really curious and start to recognize your avoidance patterns. Okay? Like these go hand in hand. Solution 1 and 2, it's not like one after the other. This is like kind of like a beautiful system that you can start to implement. So you'll be like affirming in that good stuff. At the same time, you're calling yourself out on your bullshit. You're going to be like, okay, I spent an extra X $1,000 on God knows what. Could be an avoidance behavior. I ate a whole chocolate cake. Okay. This is one of the reasons why I stopped drinking alcohol. Took a little breaky break because I recognized I was drinking to not deal with shit. Literally. Like it got to the point where I recognized, I'm like, I was telling some of my friends, I'm like, I don't even know what I have to face right now, but I know that I have to stop drinking because whatever it is going to come up, I'm just going to let that shit come up because otherwise I'm perpetuating my own cycles, my own bullshit. So I very much live by everything that I'm saying. Okay. I invested in education. I invested in my own coaches, several programs, coaches, one-on-ones, all the freaking things. I take this very, very seriously, right? So remember in the beginning of the episode, they're like, how did you get here? Because I did the work. And it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be like the worst thing ever. It's actually pretty fucking cool and enjoyable. And what's waiting for you on the other side is, everything you've ever wanted, right? Feeling abundant, feeling happy, like for no reason. You just wake up and you're like, this rocks. Can you imagine? That's what's waiting for you when you do this. Okay. What's going on, right? And honestly, the invitation as I say this is to give yourself so much love and patience because as you start to do this, what's going on is the habits that you have now, whether it's spending, social media, whatever is your comfortable, nice little cave of avoidance patterns, is what's called a neural pathway in your brain. So your brain cells are firing and wiring in a specific order, back and forth, back and forth. Think about it like a really paved road because you have driven it so many times, it's like perfectly paved. So what's going to start to happen when you affirm in the good stuff and call yourself out on your bullshit, you're literally building a new road. So it's going to be really tempting to go like walk and take a nice little gander down the road that you've been going for so long. Guess where that's going to take you? The same place. Like, how would you like to, and I really say, and I know you guys know me and you know that I'm saying everything with love, but how would you like to feel in a year exactly how you feel right now or worse? Because that's what's waiting for you if you don't make a new neural pathway. Okay, which is exactly what I'm helping you do here. I'm gonna give myself a nice little shake after this. I'm literally sweating after this, you guys. But it's fine. I love this. I love that you guys are so receptive and you've been amazing for all of these episodes and that you're really taking this seriously. Okay, so if you have any questions, any feedback at all, please reach out to me after you finish this episode. Okay, you can email me. This is actually the email for my team, but it will be forwarded to me. It is hello, HELLO, at the THE Zoe, ZOE, Olivia, OLIVIA.com. If you are hearing this and you're like, I just want to get started on coaching, please apply at the link in my Instagram bio. Remember, the invitation is acts of kindness today. And also, if you guys love this episode, please take a screenshot, tag me on Instagram. I love to see everything that you guys do. I really appreciate the support. And also, send this to 5-10 people. This could be your act of kindness. Look at that, right? Send this to 5-10 people where you're like, oh, he or she could really feel better right now. So sending you love, sending you peace, sending you high feel good vibes. I believe in you. I love you. And I will talk to you soon.